today's gospel, as we commemorate one of the appearances of the Lord Jesus Christ that is specifically directed to satisfy the curiosity and the questions of Thomas, the apostle who is one of the 12. This reading from the gospel is extremely important reading. We have in our hands a very precious document, if you will, reporting where the Lord heard the uncertainty and reluctance of Thomas to believe in his resurrection. And he gave him all the proofs that he wanted or he needed, and by extension, he did that to all of us. I think often you hear about some talk referring to conflict between religion and science. And really, when that talk happens, it refers to conflict between religions and Christianity, between science and Christianity. Because that kind of debate doesn't really apply or much emphasized when it comes to other religions. Science, as we define it, is what is widely accepted as a state of knowing, a state of knowing. We don't have much time to analyze this entire theme. We're going just to touch upon a few points. So, Jesus Christ is the truth. He said that. I am the truth. So, if Jesus Christ is the truth, then is not Jesus Christ in a perpetual state of omniscience, in a perpetual state of knowing and knowing everything? That's one important point that we should emphasize. Seriously, from the perspective of Christianity, any mention of contradiction between science and Christianity is just a mere propaganda. Jesus is the perfect scientist. He's the perfect scientist because he is the one that knows everything. And Jesus is the terminator of all ignorance, because Jesus is the light of the world. How can be contradiction between science and Christ or science and Christianity when the main focal point of Christianity is the truth itself? And Jesus, as being the light of the world, he expels darkness and he expels all rumors and all untruth. So, celebrating the Sunday of Thomas, it shows that the role model of transparency is Jesus Christ. When there was a question by his own people, not being sure about his resurrection, what did he do? He came and he answered to their questions, to the uncertainties. Personally, exactly what they needed, as much as what they needed. So, on one hand, this shows us that the apostles were very hesitant to believe in the resurrection of Christ. They themselves questioned that. And that's why he was with his disciples, appearing for them for 40 days. And the first week, from last Sunday, which is the resurrection, until today, he made many appearances. And today, when they were gathered for prayer, it was on a Sunday, he did the same thing. So the apostles did not believe, and they did not convey the message of the resurrection until they themselves had hard evidence of the resurrection. They did not just hear about it, take it, and run with it. They examined that very thoroughly, all of them. And Thomas was the leading of the most or the hardest among them to accept, until the Lord appeared specifically for him. So the risen Lord did not hesitate and does not hesitate to provide all the proofs and the evidences that are needed for the resurrection. So how can be there any contradiction between science and Christianity? If the foundation of Christianity is to provide all the proof that is there and that is needed. Until today, there are people who speak about cover-up pertaining to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. There are books, there are libraries, there are people, there are scholars, 2,000 years after. Now, in all of the history of humanity, how long did it take for all the propaganda and the lies to be uncovered? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, right? It's taken 2,000 years, and no one ever has a solid proof that the resurrection did not take place. Now take into consideration the entire Roman Empire, with all of its abilities as an empire, for 300 years, confiscated books, put Christians in jail, prohibited the teaching, prohibited the gathering, prohibited the prayers, to stop the spreading of the truth of the resurrection. And who gave in after 300 years? It wasn't the church. It was the Roman Empire that became a Christian empire. If Christianity today or at any time is proven where the resurrection never took place, Christianity will die immediately. The entire points, the pyramids upon which the foundation of Christianity is built, is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The other important point about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, it's not an event that happened 2,000 years ago. It's not an event where it left an empty tomb. It is a power that works even today in the hearts of the people to expel their darkness, liberate them from their sins, give them liberty, give them freedom, heal them, soul and body. So this is a continuous power and energy working all the time that emanates from the empty tomb. And the one final thing I want to emphasize to all of you. We are the witnesses of the truth. We receive the truth generation after generation. It is upon us, it's our task to examine all the evidence of the truth, to be fully aware of everything, and when we are asked to answer with certainty. So, as witnesses of the truth, this is a job, a task that we have to take seriously to protect the truth and to perpetuate the truth by ourselves being able to answer to whatever question arises in regard to that.